Hey, is this thing working?
It is. How's everybody today?
I'm awesome. How about you?
I'm doing good. Man, it's a great Thursday. Week's almost over. So Friday will be here before you know it. It's going to be fun tomorrow because we're going to finish up the game. So be paying attention to that. We have put clues and suggestions throughout the week on which topic that we're talking about.
Are we playing checkers? Are we playing chess?
Right. So it's been real fun. So be listening for that today. A night will get taken. Listen to find out which piece is swiped. But before you do, please share, like, follow, and subscribe to receive daily alerts on your platform of choice. We thank you very much for everything that you do for us, for all your sharing, all your help. We are growing and we love it.
Yeah, we are. We've been paying attention to our listener count every day, our downloads every day. We're growing. We thank each and every one of you.
Yes, it's because of you that we do this. We will all work together to save the country. That's what we're here to do and to get President Trump elected. And
like we always say each and every day, our main goal is to make sure that you become informed and become engaged. Starts at the grassroots, like we've always said from the very beginning, from the very first podcast we've always talked about. The grassroots, man. What is the grassroots? The grassroots is where it starts right there in that one little area. And as the grass grows and it roots, it begins to spread and it begins to grow. And pretty soon you just can't stop it. And that's what we're all about.
That's what we're all about.
The only way we're going to arm ourselves with that is to do what? Once again, be informed, be engaged. Hey, man, we got a big show today. We got a lot of things on the agenda for today. We got Boeing and a lot of different things that we found out about Boeing and what they're doing. We've got the TikTok debate is still going on. It's heated. The House has passed the TikTok banning bill. Yeah. Yeah, they're gearing us up.
Here we go. I don't know what it is with our government banning things.
Well, they're gearing us up for Patriot Act 2.0, man. I'm telling you.
Yes,
they are.
Oh, we'll be talking about that.
We got the mass migration still happening. The border is still open. I don't care if it's Texas, Arizona, California. Hey, if it's Florida, it's still open, man, and they're still coming. And the last thing we got, hey, you know, you get your busy day, your busy days that you got going on, and you get started in it, and after a while you're tired, and you just sit down and you go, dang, all this other little crap needs to be done too. Is it going to be possible that we can rent a robot? We're going to talk about that a little bit too today. So let's get going here. I think the first thing we ought to really talk about, though, is TikTok. That's been the biggest news of the past couple of days so far.
It seems like. I mean, this has just turned into a massive debate. Well, the U.S. House of Representatives yesterday passed a bill, which we mentioned, and it's to ban in the U.S. unless its Chinese-owned parent company, which is ByteDance, sells it. The House voted 352 to 65 to pass this bill. Now it's headed to the Senate, where its fate remains unclear, as several lawmakers have expressed hesitation over the legislation. And one of those persons that is really against it is Senator Rand Paul. And it was this morning we were watching Fox News and just happened to catch him on there talking to Brian Kilmeade. And before we go any further, we want to let you hear what he had to say.
The country, you're defaming the company. 60% of it is owned by international investors, 20% is owned by the software developers who are Chinese, and 20% is owned by the employees, 7,000 of whom are Americans. So it's a complicated ownership, but it's not owned by the government.
It's not about profits. Who owns the algorithm?
TikTok owns their own algorithm, and it's actually not in China.
TikTok? ByteDance. And who owns ByteDance? The Chinese government.
No, they don't. See, you've just told a lie, Brian. You can't say on TV something that's a lie about a company. That is an out-and-out lie, and it's provably false. And they're not owned by the Chinese government. TikTok is owned privately, 60% by international investors.
ByteDance controls the algorithm. That's all that matters. You're talking about profits.
Let me finish.
I've been listening to you.
Let me finish the answer. 60% is owned by international investors who have made investments in this.
You know, he is right in essence, you know, but what gets me is he keeps pushing this 60%. He says 60% of international investors own ByteDance. Okay, well, who are these international investors? And how come we don't know these names? There are several investors here in America who are pushing the other direction.
Right.
You know, and they're saying if you don't vote for this bill, then we're not going to give you money to get reelected. I mean, they're using lobbying.
Sure they are.
You know, and so he's coming out. There are very few, actually, that are against it. For some reason, the majority of them want it. And now it's over in the Senate, so we'll see where that goes. But I did want to give you what the China's foreign ministry said. Their statement on Wednesday said U.S. claims of a national security threat were unsubstantiated, and a spokesperson added a ban would ultimately come back to bite the United States. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce, the federal agency that oversees corporate affairs, has not yet said whether it would approve a sale. So we're going to be paying attention to this. This is going to get real heated over the weekend, I'm pretty sure. So let's keep an eye on it.
But my question is, what gives the government the right to tell a private company that they have to sell their company? What gives the government the right to do that?
Well, and, you know, that's what Senator Paul was talking about, is where is the due process? They haven't even gone to court. I mean, people are just coming out and saying this is what they're doing. And then they have the right to just ban a company. So
what do you think the government's motive is in this? I mean, really, what is there? They can say national security threat all they want. And if it's about, like we've talked about, data manipulation, if it's talked about, like Brian says, the algorithms, if it's about the algorithms, if it's about...
They can't be controlled.
Okay. If it's about algorithms and it's about data collection and it's about manipulation, also all social media apps do this. Your AT&T does this. Verizon does this. Anybody that you've ever walked into a store and swiped a debit card does this.
Facebook does it.
Everybody does this. So
Instagram.
So what's the government's real motivation in banning this? National security threat to me is so vague.
It is very vague.
And
that is what Brian Kilmeade kept using. Well, national security.
Yeah.
But tell me in what way. You're right.
Yeah. That is so vague to the point, like we've been into with the Patriot Act, like I referenced that we've been into with this. All of a sudden they determine that you're a domestic violent extremist. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is just another form of surveillance. And I read this tweet from Sean Davis the other day, and this is really almost word for word exactly the way I stand with this. This is what his take on it, and this is exactly my take on it. He goes, here's what's actually going on with the TikTok fight right now. Deep state toadies are taking advantage of the anti-China sentiment to transfer TikTok's surveillance apparatus from China's evil surveillance state to the U.S. government's evil surveillance state. TikTok isn't going to be banned because neither the CCP-run Chinese government nor the CCP-owned U.S. government wants to lose such a valuable tool for spying on Americans and poisoning the minds of the children. Instead, the corrupt U.S. intelligence bureaucracy wants control of TikTok, which is why it included the divestment mandate. Only a handful of U.S. companies are capable of buying and managing TikTok, and they already function as appendages of the deep state surveillance apparatus. It's all about control of information. This is what the government wants it. That's why exactly they want it banned, because once they do that, then they send a message to the rest of them that if you don't toe the line with what we're telling you, we'll push this government, we'll push the public interest, or we'll push the public outcry to ban you, and you'll go down just like the rest of them, and we'll still control all the technology. We'll still control the surveillance. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and another thing is what I haven't gotten, and why the Democrats are so on board with banning TikTok, I'll never understand. Because if you've been really paying attention, TikTok is how the Democrats get to the younger folks to vote. They use TikTok. They've already been talking about how we're going to get on TikTok and we're going to be all over the place. So why are they interested in banning TikTok. I think there's an ulterior motive as well.
Do you think
there's something that we're not catching?
Okay, is there investment opportunity, financial opportunities for these ones that are pushing to ban this? Is there financial opportunities?
I'm pretty sure all the way around there's money.
Yeah.
Always follow the money.
I say, I'm just torn between it, because if it's truly a national security threat, then if that's what it truly is, then I'm okay. I can see your side, but then again, too, at the same time, who the hell are you, Mr. Government, to tell a company they are forced to sell their company? If we don't want TikTok being used here, then create us another app that will equal it and let capitalism and marketplace correct itself.
Yes. But have you heard about what's going on over there in Haiti?
Florida's being invaded by the Haitians. Here we go.
Yeah, mass migration is coming to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We have a video that we want to play you and give you a little background information on what's going on, since we haven't really covered it yet. We've been trying to get the whole story before we do, so we're going to play this little video of Matt Gaetz.
Haiti continues unchecked and getting worse. The country is now run by a gang leader who goes by the nickname or nom de guerre Barbecue. You can decide for yourself why that is. In Florida, they are bracing for a massive influx of Haitian immigrants. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the federal government is not doing enough, so he is sending hundreds of police, state, and National Guardsmen to the beach to intercept large flotillas of Haitians coming. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz pressured military leaders on the Hill this week to take preventative action.
Can I leave this discussion believing that it will be your best military advice to the administration to utilize DoD assets for this purpose?
If there's a need for that, I would absolutely request it.
All right, Congressman Matt Gaetz is with us now, member of the Armed Services Committee. Is this actually going to happen, another mass wave of Haitian boat people?
Certainly. Haiti is a failed state right now. The Biden administration officials I was speaking with couldn't distinguish Haiti from a failed state, and we know that is the #1 push factor that sends thousands of people into the Florida Straits, onto Florida shores. And here's the legal status of those folks. If we interdict them at sea, we are able to pull right up to a dock at Port-au-Prince as a consequence of our agreements there, let them out, and they are never part of the immigration system. If they make it to shore, they're able to claim that they fear their conditions in Haiti, they can seek asylum, and that further clogs that system. So
I guess to be fair.
Yeah, Haiti is a very important situation to watch.
And that situation has rolled pretty fast in the past couple of weeks.
Yes,
with their prime minister, traveling all over the globe.
Yeah, not wanting to go home.
Well, and not being allowed to come back home.
Can he even go home yet?
Yeah.
But, just not just for security, but imagine what's coming up with this election. The ingredients for a maritime mass migration are fully in place. The state has failed. People in Haiti are getting on boats, and the first ones are starting to land in Florida. Now, Todd Bensman, who was on Bannon on War Room yesterday on Steve Bannon's show, he told us what to watch for here. He said in the coming days is whether the Biden government interdicts them at sea with naval assets, not just Coast Guard assets, and turns them back and repatriates them to Haiti. Well, let me ask you something. Do you think Biden is actually going to turn them back and repatriate them to Haiti? Or to Guantanamo Bay, which has been done in the past? It is an option, he said.
Biden's going to bring them in, take them to New York, and give them $10,000 debit cards like he's doing the rest of them. He has no intentions of doing any of repatriating them.
So he's going to just process them in, and they're just going to, be part of the illegal immigration.
He even made the comment that there's already been some boats already arrived, and they didn't repatriate any of them.
Yep, they haven't. The reason why boats are crossing the Mediterranean into Europe is because they are letting them. In Spain, Italy, they're getting in. That's why they're doing it. If we do the same thing, we're going to see these boats coming through straight through to Florida. And what they're worried about, what the Navy says they're worried about, is we're going to see capsizes where people are going to die. That's not good for the Haitians, and it's definitely not good for the United States of America to have Haitians dying on their watch.
No, exactly.
You know, so this bears watching too. It is going to get deep before it gets any better.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to get bad. You know, the state has failed. What are they supposed to do? But let's go to America because they're the savior of everybody, right?
Right.
On yesterday's show, we talked about the whistleblower from Boeing who was found dead of an apparent suicide in the hotel parking lot shortly before he was scheduled to testify. And I think this is sad, but it's not just that. It's just that Boeing has got serious problems. You know, within the past 6 years, did you know? Boeing has been found responsible for 2 fatal crashes that killed 346 people, lost tens of billions of dollars, paid billions more in fines and settlements, and it made headlines for repeated quality control problems. You know, just last night, the United Airlines Boeing plane that turned around midnight after departing Sydney, Australia earlier this week suffered a fuel leak. You know, on yesterday's show, we talked about the whistleblower, John Burnett from Boeing, who was found dead of an apparent suicide in his hotel parking lot shortly before he was scheduled to testify on day 2. So Boeing has obviously got serious problems.
Yeah, they've had a lot of problems. Think about the last at least 2 weeks we've seen reports of wheels falling off of planes.
Yeah, and
they had an incident in Houston.
And then they had the door plug.
Yeah.
You know,
that was the big issue from back in January.
Yeah, it was. You know, but Boeing over the past 6 years has been found responsible for 2 fatal crashes that's killed 346 people. They've lost tens of billions of dollars, probably in lawsuits, you know, paid billions in fines and settlements, and it made headlines for repeated quality control problems. You know, and this whistleblower, this was one of the things he was doing. He was blowing the whistle on the production problems that they've been having. You know, they would use things like toothpaste to fix stuff, you know.
Duct tape.
Duct tape.
Yeah.
You know, would you fly right now?
Would I?
I mean, it's just a question that I want to ask people. I think I'm going to go around and ask people, are you scared to fly? You know, because I am.
I kind of always have been, just not because I thought that planes were safe or unsafe, but because of the fact that that's a long way to fall and you have no way to even have a chance of survival. So I've just never been a big fan of flying. You know how I am with even the ships and the cruises, kind of the same kind of way, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like at least in a car, I got to steer. I've got control. I've got a fighting chance, you know. But
hey, I totally get that one.
But I guess the thing that we're learning now, if you're asking me now, would I consider flying past this point now that we're beginning to know what's going on? No.
Yeah, but don't you find it really strange that we're just now finding out about it?
If I can't drive.
Has there been more and more stuff, but it's been hidden?
Well, there's been a lot.
Over time?
Yeah, there's been a whole lot. Nick Sorter yesterday, he had a breaking story yesterday, and he said that Boeing overwrote surveillance footage of the 737 MAX door plug repair, according to the National Transportation Safety Board, and they also say that they're unable to find the records documenting this work. It's a good point to bring up about this. If you've been paying attention for the past couple of weeks, they've been testifying, and one of the ladies with the National Transportation Safety Board, she even made the testimony and the statements that she's been asking them for these documents and asking them, and they won't give them to her. They wouldn't tell her the names of the employees who performed the work. They wouldn't do none of that.
You know, but Boeing is not just any other company. It is, for all intents and purposes, an untouchable American institution. So what can we do about this? They're calling it an aerospace utility, essentially posing as a private enterprise, and it barely even has regulators to stand up to. The FAA is so underfunded that it relies on Boeing to self-regulate. So it's no wonder the FAA administrator this week was shocked to find Boeing has failed half of its audit of its production facility.
Wow.
Yeah, and they said in a statement it is that they are working diligently to work out these issues highlighted by the FAA. it went on to say, based on the FAA audit, our quality stands down. In the recent expert panel report, we continue to implement immediate changes and develop a comprehensive action plan to strengthen safety and quality and build the confidence of our customers and their passengers. Boeing said in a statement, we are squarely focused on taking significant demonstrated action with transparency at every turn.
Too big to fail.
Too big to fail, exactly. That's perfect.
Yep.
So
they decided they were like the banks from back in 2008 and that they're just too big to fail and we're not going to allow it. Y'all just regulate yourselves and we'll just keep right on flying.
Too big to fail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sorry, man. You know, this is what we go back to talking about TikTok, all these mainstream medias, you know, everything that's going on right now with big companies. They're trying to ban TikTok, but Facebook has, let me count them now: Threads, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. 4. They got 4 social media platforms.
Sure.
And they're not a monopoly and they're not big.
Well,
you know, but they're going to go after TikTok. So that's just another thing. This is where I think that the night has been swiped. They're going to ban TikTok so Facebook can take over. If you ban TikTok, Facebook is going to grow and grow. We can't continue to have Google, who is doing the same thing, grow.
And it's even not so much that it would grow even on a public or an economic level. It's going to grow because Facebook is already embedded with surveillance, with our FBI, with our DOJ. They're already embedded with that.
Which is what's going to happen
the message
to TikTok.
That's right. The strong message of we're going to ban them over a national security threat is just their way of saying, if we can't control the information, we'll shut you down just like we did them.
That's exactly what is happening. Now, how come they can't do something about Boeing?
Exactly.
If they can go and do something about TikTok, then they can do something about Boeing.
Exactly. Priorities.
You know, Boeing can't be too big to fix. This is people's lives on the line. These are people's jobs. People have retirements. People have, it is big. And maybe it is too big to fail because it's got so many people that count on it. But I'm telling you what, when it comes to people's lives, you need to figure it out and you need to fix it. And you need to save lives, not kill them. Just saying. And we're going to move on to robots. Because we're going to end the day with a little bit of fun. Can you believe that they're talking about humanoids? I'm sorry. That is a word that needs to be striked from the English language. Humanoids? No, a humanoid to me is a human with maybe a robot arm. Wouldn't that be like a humanoid?
An android, yeah.
You know? So to me, a robot is nothing human. It don't need no human in it anywhere because it's not human. Is that right? Don't you see it that way, James?
They're just making a big deal out of this right here. This is an Axios article that it says, coming soon, a programmable army of humanoid robots. Envisioning a day when hundreds of humanoid robots can be summoned and deployed at the touch of a button, Agility Robotics has announced its first fleet management platform. Why it matters. There's intense competition among humanoid robot manufacturers to get their products into the industrial marketplace, where companies like Amazon and BMW are eager for their help. The new platform, Agility Arc, is a cloud-based tool that they'll be able to command a robot army, say, to start moving bins to a conveyor belt at a particular time.
Okay. I am a conspiracy theorist, as everyone knows. So I'm going to read you this once again, and then you think what you want to think. Command a robot army. There we go. We're moving on.
But what they're saying is, the reason that they're going to do this is, the ability to control fleets of robots is something that everybody in the robotics business needs to do. Damian Shelton, president of Agility Robotics, tells Axios. Well, sure he tells them that. I think we're the first humanoid robot vendor to have any solution offering on that front. Agility envisions ultimately very large deployments into the hundreds, Shelton adds.
I wonder how much that cost.
Yeah. So what will this all bring us? It goes on to say where it stands. Walking robots are gradually making the leap from the science lab to the workplace, requiring more sophisticated management systems. They already have this robot out. It's being tested by
His name is
Amazon.
Digit.
Yeah, it's being tested by Amazon and GXO Logistics, which recently deployed at a warehouse in Georgia. And it says that this robot maker,
A competing robot maker called Figure, which just garnered a massive investment from Jeff Bezos and OpenAI, is starting to staff a BMW production line and said just yesterday that its robots can now have full conversations with people on end-to-end neutral networks. There's your job.
yep,
There
taking
you
your
go.
jobs.
Taking your jobs. Agility is opening a manufacturing facility in Oregon called PhoboFab, which plans to eventually produce 10,000 two-legged robots annually.
So why are we bringing all the people in? Why are we bringing all the migrants in? That's what I want to ask. Why are we doing that? I thought they were here to replace the workforce.
Yeah, I'm so lost. You know what? I feel like humans are being replaced by robots.
We're going to have a robot army is what we're going to have. A military.
Yes. That's what my conspiracy brain went there.
Right.
Eventually, the government will be paying for these robots if they haven't already.
Right.
So we might want to be looking into our bills and seeing what kind of stuff and pork they got in there, because I guarantee you AI is on their list. And AI robots is definitely on their list because they want woke.
Do you think if they can control them to go walk over here across the warehouse and pick up a box and put it on a conveyor belt, they can't teach them to raid your house?
Take your gun, shut your mouth.
Yep.
Anything they can do that the government wants them to do.
Yep. Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. You know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.